And you're very welcome to our webinar this afternoon from the Emma project. And my name is Sally Reynolds, and I'm going to be with you with my two colleagues, Ruth Kerr from UNINA and Jorge Hisivera Sals from UPV in Valencia for the next hour. And thank you very much for joining us. We don't have too many people with us at the moment. We have about 40 people registered for the webinar, so hopefully they'll join us in the not too distant future. So if this is your first time that you have joined us for one of these webinars, let me just very briefly remind you that Emma is a European project providing multilingual access to European MOOCs. You can see on the front page the different partners that are involved in the Emma project. And today's webinar is all about creating and delivering multilingual MOOCs based on the use of the translation and transcription service which UPV has now integrated as part of the Emma platform. So that's really what we're going to be talking about today. This is part of a much longer series. So we've been running MOOCs for the last couple of weeks. We started before Christmas on Emma and how to get involved in Emma and how to use the platform. And if you'd like to look at previous recordings, you are of course very welcome. So here's a couple of screenshots from the Emma platform, which I hope are familiar to you. You can see at the bottom we also have various social media channels, which of course you're very welcome to join. And thank you, Paula. She's just put the webinar, the Twitter code, the Twitter hashtag down at the bottom as well for you. So without too much further ado, please do let us know where you're joining us from. I see we have we have Cornelia from Bonn, Francesca from Italy. Do let us know where you are and where you're joining us from, and we'll try to make sure that any questions that you have are answered. You can use the chat function at the bottom of the screen to put down any questions or points of view that you want to raise during the webinar, and I'll make sure that either Ruth or Jorge have a chance to answer them. So we're going to start with Jorge from Universitat Politécnica de Valencia, and myself and Ruth are going to switch off our microphones and cameras and hand over to Jorge.
Okay, thank you, Sally. Okay, before going into my presentation, I would like to deliver a short quiz about your experience on translating educational material. So, Alberto, could you send that quiz? Okay. Have you?
Albert. Sorry, Jorge, we seem to have a misunderstanding. Did you send a poll to us?
Yes. But
okay.
It's fine.
We don't seem to have it, so we'll try and find it for you, and we'll be able to show it a bit later on.
No problem.
Sorry.
Okay. This is the index of my presentation. I will present myself and my research group. Then I will go into the main topic of this presentation, is multilingual access to MOOCs. How we achieve this by providing subtitles to video and the translation of the text included in the MOOC. And finally, some conclusions with some discussions. Okay, just first to say, I am a lecturer at the Department of Computer Systems and Computation. I belong to the Machine Learning and Language Processing group. We work on the area of natural language processing. And over the last year, we have been working on developing automatic speech recognition system and machine translation system mainly. And this has provided the possibility of supporting transcription systems for a wide range of languages: English, Spanish, Italian, Dutch, Estonian, Portuguese, French, Catalan, German, and Slovene. Also, we can develop transcription systems for new languages on demand. And we have also developed translation systems to translate from English into Spanish, Italian, French, Catalan, and Slovenian, and from Spanish, Italian, Dutch, Estonian, Portuguese, French, and Catalan into English. We have recently also worked on developing speech synthesis systems to generate an automatic dubbing for videos in English and Spanish. And our experience mainly comes from two European projects on providing multilingual access to to educational content. These projects are Translectures and EMMA, that we will see in a bit more detail now. Translectures, it already finished in 2004, October 2014. The idea was to lower the language barrier to access video repositories by providing multilingual subtitles. The idea was to improve the quality of these subtitles by massive adaptation. I will explain this concept later, and intelligent interaction. We were working with two large video repositories, Video Lectures and Polymedia, with thousands of hours, and we transcribed these repositories. In the case of Video Lectures was English and Slovenian, the languages, and Spanish for Polymedia, and we were translating this transcription into, in the case of English, into Spanish, French, German and Slovene, and from Slovene and Spanish into English. In EMMA, we are now providing multilingual access to MOOCs. This is the topic of the presentation, videos and documents. In this case, in EMMA, we have few hours for transcription and translation, but we have increased the range of languages that we covered with Italian, Dutch, Estonian, Portuguese and French. And the idea is to translate from the source language of the MOOC provider to English, in the case of English, into Spanish and Italian.
Okay, if you'd like to run your poll now, it's
okay.
ready for you.
Okay, so I can let you.
We'll put it up
Yes,
for you.
I can see it now. I see that there have been 7 votes, that they have previous experience translating educational material, 4 that haven't done any translation. Okay, it's good to know. Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is the presentation of our experience. Now going to the main topic of the presentation. As you know, most MOOCs are offering in few languages. English is the most common language, with 75% of the courses offering English. Then we have 9% in Spanish, 6% in French, and the other languages cover 10% of the courses. However, language barrier is keeping many possible learners from taking your MOOCs. In EMMA, indeed, multilingual MOOCs has increased student enrollment by 76%. So it's a large number of students that has been attracted by the possibility of taking the course in a different language. The translation of a MOOC implies to translate text, video, images and conversation. In EMMA, we were tackling the problem of the challenge of translating text and video, but we are also planning to translate the conversation between students very soon. Videos, as I said, these are translated by providing subtitles in the target language that we desire. Okay. What is the cost of translating a MOOC? Well, we have in a MOOC, we have text and video. So text, manual translation rate is approximately 2,500 words per day. So you have a 6-week MOOC with 25,000 words. It's going to take you a couple of weeks to translate all the content of your course, doing this manually. For videos, we have a two-step process. First we have to transcribe the video, and we know that this takes 10 real-time factors. This means that 1 hour of video takes 10 hours to be transcribed, and once we have the transcription, we can generate the translation for the video. So the translation, 1 hour of video takes 30 hours to be translated. So if you have a MOOC with 2 hours of video, then this is going to take you a couple of weeks to translate all the videos that you have in your MOOC. In total, you are going to have a cost of translating your MOOC by hand of 1 person a month. So the idea is to lower this cost, to lower some way. So there are two alternatives that you can even combine. You have crowdsourcing, as it happens in Tech Talks, in which people contribute to the translation of the subtitles. And also you can include the technology from speech recognition and machine translation to generate draft translations that you can review. So the idea is to reduce your effort by providing automatic transcription and translation that you can review faster than doing that from scratch. In our case, we have our experience that you can reduce to 30 to 50% the cost. So instead of devoting 1 month, you would devote 0.3 to 0.5 person month. Okay, just to give you an overview of the process of translating a video, you have a 4-step process to translate a video. You have first to, as I said, you have to generate. We can generate an automatic transcription from the video automatically, and then you review manually this transcription to correct transcription errors. Once you have a correct transcription, we can generate an automatic translation with better quality that you can also review manually to generate the final subtitles. You have to take into account that the current technology in speech recognition and machine translation cannot provide perfect automatic subtitles. However, as I said, it's going to reduce the effort to generate multilingual subtitles. The user effort that you have to devote to translate videos and text, it depends on, of course, it depends on the transcription and translation accuracy of the automatic systems. And you, as a user, you can contribute to improve the accuracy of these transcription and translation systems. So, how you can help us to improve the transcription accuracy of the systems? Transcription systems has 2 main components. You have an acoustic model that is trained from previously transcribed audio and video. For example, for some languages we use TED Talks, transcribed TED Talks that we use to train an acoustic model, and we have also a second component is the language model that is going to control the grammar of the text that is being generated by the automatic system. In this case, we train a language model from text, from electronic text. For example, we download the Wikipedia, and we train on all the Wikipedia text that we can find on the internet. So, but this is the basic system. But the key point here is that the main difference between our systems and those provided by YouTube or Google is the possibility of adapting our systems to your course to increase the accuracy of the transcription and translation system. In this case, the transcription system. How we do this adaptation? We take information from the context. For example, we can take videos that have been previously transcribed by you, or we can take into account also text resources that you can provide related to your course. For example, the text content of the course, your slides. Also, we can retrieve documents from the internet using the title of the video. We can also take into account text resources that are coming from your bibliography. So we adapt our transcription system to your needs, to your course. Okay, why automatic transcriptions? The quality of the automatic transcription nowadays is impressive. It can be impressive, but it depends sometimes if you on the availability of previously transcribed videos or printed materials. It also depends. The quality, the transcription accuracy, it also depends on the conditions, on the recording conditions, and the preparation of the presentation. Another factor is the complexity of the language. It's not the same transcribing Italian or Spanish than transcribing English. That is more complex to be transcribed. But in any case, high accuracy, fully automatic transcription is not possible nowadays. The idea is that you have to review the transcription, but this is going to be faster than doing that from scratch. The review transcription are very useful for generating draft translation, but they have also other applications, as you can see here below, for non-native speakers and hearing impaired person. You can search on the text or the video. There are many applications of transcriptions. Okay, just show you just a screenshot of the interface that we use to review transcriptions. I will give more details in the second part of my presentation, but just to show you a screenshot. And well, Regarding the evaluation of transcription of the transcription review process, we evaluate our transcription system from two viewpoints: the transcription accuracy and we also estimate the time saving with respect to transcribing from scratch, taking into account that 1 hour of video takes 10 hours to be transcribed. So we have here the result. For example, for Spanish, is our best system. The accuracy of the system is very high, 83%. So we obtain very good results for the accuracy. And the user is going to save a lot of time. Is going to save 70% of the time. This means that instead of devoting 10 hours to transcribe one video, or a video of 1 hour, you just need 3 hours. And we also have good results for Italian and English. In any case, there is a significant decrease in the effort to be devoted to review transcriptions. Okay. So you can see there the figures for different languages. Okay, as I said, you can also contribute to improve the translation accuracy of the system that we are using to translate your MOOC. A translation system has two main components. We have the translation model and the language model. Language model is similar to the model that we were using in the transcription systems. In the translation models, we are using millions of sentences that has been previously translated. So, for example, we are using parallel tests for a Spanish into English system. We have Spanish and English sentences in the order of millions. So we have many sentences that has been translated, and these sentences are usually coming from multilingual organizations, for example, the European Commission, European Union, United Nations, Tech Talks. But this text is a general purpose text. For example, is the Google, and Google is also doing the same. Is training their system on this information, on this parallel test. But the key point again here is the possibility of adapting our translation systems to your course, to the topic of your course, to the domain of your course. To do that, what we do is we just take into account domain-related material to your course that has been previously translated, or simply we just take all the tests from your course and slide, and we try to develop translation system that are adapted to the topic of your course. Okay, I must say that machine translation accuracy is not as good as the accuracy of speech recognition systems. This is because machine translation is a more difficult problem than speech recognition. But in any case, the quality of automatic translation, it depends on several factors. For example, it depends on the proximity between the source and target language. The same translating English into Finnish than translating Spanish into Catalan. It also depends on the complexity of the grammar structure that the user is, that the speaker is using. So simple speech simple sentences are easy to translate. Also depends on the specificity of the vocabulary that you employ, and also on the availability of parallel tests in the domain of your course. But in any case, translation are needed to be reviewed before publishing them to the students. But the idea is that this is going to take less than translating from scratch. Okay, this is the interface for reviewing subtitles into languages. I will give you more details in the second presentation. Okay. We have a similar interface for the translation of documents. So we have both documents, the source and the target document, running in parallel. Finally, I have some results on the evaluation of the translation review process. As in transcription, we have translation accuracy and the time saving with respect to translating from scratch. This time saving is an estimation. So, for example, for the translation of Spanish into English, the performance of the system is good, is 63%. You can understand that as 63% of the words were correctly translated. The time saving is quite significant in this case, and we save a lot of time. For example, instead of devoting 30 hours to translate a video of 1 hour, we just need 9 hours instead of 30. And we have similar figures for different languages. You see that in the last case, in the French into English translation system, we didn't have the chance to apply the domain adaptation. In this case, the accuracy was lower because of not applying these domain adaptation techniques, and of course the time saving is smaller than in the previous cases. But in any case, you can save quite much time by using automatic translation. Okay, and finally my last slide. Well, just as a conclusion, to say that multilingual access to courses boosts visibility. In EMMA, for example, we increased students' enrollment by 76%. The cost of manually translating a course is high. As I said, you have to take that into account before going into this process. But automatic transcription and translation system can help you to reduce this effort up to 30% or 50%. And the accuracy of the transcription and translation system depends on several factors. Language is involved, the availability of annotated data resources that are related to your course, and the specificity of the vocabulary of your course. But just as a last point, my last recommendation would be that if you are planning to offer your course in multiple languages, I would advise you to think in multilingual when you are designing your MOOC. So take into account that you have to translate some of the content of your course into a different language before in the design of your MOOC. Okay, and this is my first presentation. Now, if you have any question, I will be very happy to answer.
Thanks, Jorge. Thank you very much. Indeed, so if you have any questions, put them into the chat box for us now. As you can see, Francesca and I are having a conversation about the inclusion of that MOOC that she mentions. Just in general, we don't provide translation and transcription services externally from Emma, but this is, as a service, it's available to MOOCs that are on the Emma platform. So that's why I asked Francesca whether she's gone through the process or not of proposing their MOOC for the Emma platform. If yes, and if we go ahead, then of course the service, the translation and transcription service, comes with it as well. So indeed, the MOOC has to be on our platform to be translated and transcribed. Anything we should say more about that, Ruth?
I was just thinking that maybe it's worth pointing out that each partner is responsible for the editing of those transcriptions and translations. That doesn't form part of our service. Though we'll see later the translations are almost usable as they are, but Jorge was saying that we do human revision normally to make them even better, and that is the responsibility of the provider, the individual provider.
Yeah. So indeed, Francesca, I hope that answers your question. So yes, the MOOC has to be on Emma for us to make available the automatic translation and transcription services. But again, the human checking, which is the more time-consuming part, is done by the MOOC provider themselves. I must admit, I was curious at the beginning, because quite a few people said that they were already using systems themselves. So it would be nice to hear from you. Maybe in the chat you might, those of you who are already using automatic translation and transcription services, to just drop a note in and tell us what service you're using and in what context, because it would be nice to maybe talk about the different kinds of services that there are. Francesca, you said, thanks. How long does it take to translate into 2 languages, French, Spanish from English? How long does what take, I think, is going to be the question. Jorge? 1 minute?
This is,
say 1 minute of material?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, I provided some figures at the beginning of the presentation. Yes, these are general figures. Because it depends on the person, of course. But this is our. If you want to have a first estimation of the cost of translating a MOOC, you can take these figures into account. For example, you have to take into account that the translation rate is about 2,500 words per day. So you have to count how many words you have in your course, and just divide it by the number of words that you have that you can translate by day. And you can do the same process for videos. If you have videos, you just count how many hours of video you have, and then you multiply by 10 plus 30 by 40, and you have an estimation of the time that you have to invest in the translation of your videos. So you can have a good estimation on the investment of time that you need to translate your course.
Thanks. So Francesca, I hope that answers your question. Francesca, the other Francesca from Salento, you said we could not hear Ruth's words. Ruth was just simply referring to the fact that if your MOOC is on Emma, then the automatic translation and transcription service is available as part of your use of the Emma platform, but the time that it takes, the human time that it takes to check both the transcriptions and also the translations, is done by the MOOC provider themselves. That's not something that Emma does for you. I think that was the main point that Ruth was making that perhaps you missed. Yeah. Sorry, you see you've written it as well too. Federica, e-waste is under evaluation until yesterday. Okay. I also see Tamar is talking about something called MateCat to save some time, which is probably an automatic translation system. I don't know whether you know it or not, Jorge.
Yes, I think MateCat, I think it comes from a European project. I think it's a European project on translation by Flipcone, I think. They were working on developing a computer-assisted translation system, and indeed, I mean, they use the same technology than us. They use MOOCs. MOOCs is a free toolkit for generating translation systems. The main distinctive feature in Emma is the possibility of adaptation. We adapt our translation systems to the domain of your course. But yes, this project, and there have been a couple of European projects on this topic of computer-assisted translation that they have been developing techniques to assist translators. Yes.
I think it's a bit of a holy grail, I think, for everybody, all of us in Europe, is to find better and better translation systems. I think the single thing that's most difficult for people who come to this new, if this is the first time you've started to think about these systems, is to know that it is machine translation and transcription, so therefore the human involvement is important. But the amount of time that you save by using these automatic systems, of course, is important. And Tamar tells us a bit more about MateCat, European Union Translation Memory Software. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Tamar.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me just say, because this is a usual question that people ask, is that how our accuracy compares to that of YouTube or Google. So this just show me some figures here. We have in this case we have the transcription error. This is error rate for transcription. We have several languages in which we are working in Emma. These are the results that we are obtaining in Emma, and this is the result that YouTube is providing for the same videos. So, as you can see, the error rate of YouTube is significantly higher than the one provided by the Emma systems. As you can see, I mean, the error rate of YouTube is by at least 30, 40, 50% higher than our systems. And this is mainly because of the use of adaptation materials. And something similar happens to the translation quality, but in this case it's quality, so the higher the beta. So in this case, the quality offered by the Emma systems is higher than the translation system provided by Google. And the technology is the same, but the key point, as I said, is the adaptation of the translation system to the course, because Google just generates a general system for the language, but it cannot adapt the translation system to the domain of the course, and this is our main advantage, as you can see in these figures. Okay, sorry.
Thanks, Jorge. No problem. I think what we'll do is we maybe move on to the next presentation. Yes. Unless anybody else, I don't see anything else in the chat box that anybody else is asking. So we'll put up maybe the next presentation. Thank you very much, Alberto. Okay, over to you, Jorge.
Okay, this is just a demo of how the transcription and translation system working integrated into EMA. So in this case, for example, this is the interface for EMA, for the EMA platform, in which you can include the information of your courses, all the lessons, units, and assignments for your course. And at any moment, you can, for example, in this case, they are creating the course, the content of the course, the overview of the course, and you may decide to include a video. So you include a video by clicking on this icon. You include a video in the overview of your course. Usually, the usual way of including a video in the EMA platform is providing a URL, a link to a YouTube or Vimeo video. Then you provide the link in this box, and then you just save the content of the overview of the course. And once you save the content of this page, what it happens is that the EMA platform analyzes the content of the overview, and when it finds a URL to a video, it provides this icon here. It provides the possibility of asking for a transcription of the video. So you have now the possibility of submitting your video to the transcription and translation platform that we have at the UPV. And once you do that, it informs you that that this video is being processed. It's going to submit. Usually takes depending on the length of the video. It takes maybe 1 hour to be processed to generate the transcription. It depends also on the load of our cluster. But in any case, after some time, you have a message saying that the video is being processed. And after this, you have the possibility of editing the transcription. So this button, this is disabled in the previous slide. Now becomes enabled, and you can click on this button to go to the screen in which you can edit the content of the transcription, of the automatic transcription generated for this video. So this is the interface for editing transcriptions for this video. The video, it runs in synchrony with the transcription. The segments are automatically generated. I mean, according to silences in the speech. You can click on edit segment and you can correct it. You can edit the transcription. Just to make sure that you don't have any transcription error. Also, we have an advanced mode of the interface. You can go into an advanced mode in which you can predefine the segments. You can adjust the length of the segments, and there are an advanced version of this transcription editor. Also, you can view the history of your changes. Also, you can download this is a very interesting facility. You can download the subtitles of your video in SRT. It's a very general format that you can use. Then you can download the SRT file, and then you can upload this SRT file to YouTube or Vimeo to show your subtitles in the video that you have hosted in Vimeo or YouTube. And also, if you have already generated some subtitles for your video, you can also import the subtitles into the system to generate the alignment between the video and the transcription. Okay, this is for transcription. And for translation, the interface is similar. In this case, you have here a CC button that you can click. You have the source language, in this case it's Italian, and then you can select the target language. In this case, it's English. So in this case, for each transcription segment, you have the corresponding translation, and this runs in synchrony with the video. So you can watch the video for the segment that you have selected, and also you have the corresponding translation. And you can click on the corresponding translation, edit the transcription, the translation, and go ahead, just scrolling down in the sequence of segments. So this is quite comfortable to use. And finally, we have the similar interface, but without video. This is only for text. When you are translating text, you have three tabs. You can see the original text. You can also view how looks like the translated text, just using just when it's shown in when you load the web page for the course. And also you have the edit translation tab that you can use to translate, to review the translation. In this case, Spanish into English. You have all the you have for each text you have the corresponding translation, and you can review the text for the target language. And once you finish, you can save the content, and you can view how is this shown in the translated version of the course. Also, you can download the content if you are interested. So there are several functions that you can use when you are working with your translations. And I think this is all. This is is my presentation for this part.
Thanks, Jorge. And Ruth is going to come and join us as well.
I am. Here I am.
That gives a good overview, I think, Ruth, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And just to finish the presentations this afternoon, well, I'll introduce myself first of all. I'm here because I've got long experience as a language teacher and a translator, and on Emma, one of my roles is responsibility for the delivery of the University of Naples MOOCs, and that involves also the editing of the transcriptions and translations from Italian into English and from English into Italian as well. So that's who I am, and my short presentation, just a few reflections really on multicultural learning and from this user perspective. And I wanted to begin with looking at some of the challenges that the world throws up for multilingual translation. Just sitting in the doctor's waiting room the other day, there was this jar of disinfectant for your hands, and in English it's called hygienic hand rub, and then in French, a little bit longer and more scientific, hydroalcoolique. And then we get to the Spanish, where it's 3 lines long: disinfection, antiseptic, healthy skin. So, you know, just one glimpse of the differences between languages, which makes it so difficult for a machine to tackle. Another example here where I think the translation is almost better than the original. The original just says there's a step, be careful, whereas the English translation has that kind of nice idea of being careful about anything and everything, you know, watch your step. Then we've got the Italian airline company, those moist tissues. Again, I think the English translation is effective. It doesn't convey the Italian, because the Italian idiomatic phrase rinfrescarsi le idee has some kind of irony and some kind of idea that the person you're talking to is a bit slow, half asleep, and needs to refresh their ideas because they're a little bit short on ideas. In a church, actually in Belgium, in Ghent, I think it was. We often say that it's easy to tell what's a machine and what's a human translation. Here, the Spanish on the right translates the French absolutely word for word. So we might say that that's an automatic translation, whereas on the left we have the English, which not only changes the word order, but is much more creative with the actual concept that it's, the message that it's conveying. But the same company provided this translation, but just handled it differently. And sometimes, we're talking challenges now, challenges of translation. In London at the moment, a new fast food company is running an advertising campaign based on really famous American or British pop songs, and then they insert the word of the food. So the famous "We built this city on rock and roll" becomes on sushi roll. But you look at it and think, how would I deal with translating this? We also find it very easy to criticize machine translations, but sometimes us human translators leave a bit to be desired too. I just saw the one on the left in the main train station in Naples just the other day. And the one on the right, I think, went viral on internet not so long ago. So, Jorge already showed us the interface. I just, on this slide, thought that I would begin the next stage of my presentation just by saying this is a fresh piece of transcription. I just did what Jorge showed you how to do, so I asked the machine to transcribe and then to translate this new course of ours, not yet published on Emma. We'll be going live, I think, in May, this one. And so just, I'm not sure how many of you in the audience speak enough Italian, but or even indeed English, but just to show you this is how it comes out. So comprehensible, but we've got some issues. So what do we do in Naples? I don't know whether everybody approaches the work in the same way, but we get the team together who are going to be responsible for editing the transcriptions and editing the translations, and we look at a continuum like this and decide where on it we want to be. On this continuum between simply correcting errors and achieving what might be called a native speaker style, there's quite a lot of leeway, and we usually opt for sorry, I've lost my pointer. We usually opt for readability rather than going for native speaker style. We get the team together and we actually decide our strategy. And obviously having adaptive systems and the memories that our guest Tema was talking about does mean that with subsequent versions of the same course, when the translations are updated, it does mean that you get a much better product. When working out our strategy, we go through some of the typical errors that may occur in transcription and translation, and try to solve these as soon as possible. Obviously, the first time round difficult and very jargony kind of terms like heuristico or patrimonio, which means the cultural heritage, or patron relegno, which is about filling in the cells on an Excel document. All of those, the machine has difficulty with the first time. It's good to be ready for those. And as we saw on the slide I showed you of the new translation, punctuation is a problem for English. The machine tends to put a new sentence at the beginning of the new segment, whereas in fact, as we can see here, the sentence doesn't actually finish there. Challenges for translation. These are or do tend to be language specific, but of course names that translate, like Felice, also means, is not only a man's name but also means happy in English. These can happen in any language. I remember one of our partners called Kyra. She comes out as pretty on the translation system, which is very nice. Probably being called happy or pretty is fine. In Italian and many Romance languages, the auxiliary verbs and question forms are always going to be a bit of an issue. Because of course in Italian you can simply invert, whereas in English we have to insert the auxiliaries. On a similar note, word order is also a problem. I imagine we have somebody from Germany, I think, in our audience today. I imagine that would be a problem when thinking about translating German and English. Here in Italian you have energia creativa, whereas of course English wants the adjective before. The same with pronouns and reflexives. Another interesting thing between Italian and English is, I've called it here redundancy, but Italian sentences tend to be quite long and flowery compared to the rather synthetic kind of approach that we have in English. In fact, here you can see there's quite a noticeable difference in segment length. Another interesting challenge about translation is translating concepts. Here, linguistically, the translation is perfect. How often have you been to a theatre and not been able to visit the rooms you particularly wanted to see because there were insufficient staff? But as a concept for an English person, it's weird because we don't often go to the theatre to see rooms. We would expect to go to the theatre to see a play. The same here at the risk of not spending too much time on this, but this kind of sentence, putting in relationship between them and therefore focalizing on the relationships that can be built in terms of relationships, relationships between the interpretative constructs, difficult concepts for an English reader who is used to a more synthetic approach. So where am I going with this? Well, Cristobal Cobo, somebody who I follow, his paper, particularly on translating the context of learning, I think is interesting. And as Jorge so clearly explained, it would appear that we can translate the container, in this case Emma, the platform, through a multilingual interface and signposting language, and it would also appear that thanks to UPV and with a certain amount of effort on our part, we can translate the content of MOOCs, the text and the videos, and even the assignments, and as Jorge said, hopefully soon the conversation and forum activity too. Cristobal Cobo says the question remains as to whether we can really translate the context of learning, whether learning and teaching styles are really translatable. Our aim in EMMA is to provide a European platform for multicultural learning, create a multicultural learning environment. And in a recent paper that University of Naples and myself, we wrote for the Eurocall journal, we tried to define the term multicultural learning, the EMMA office, and we decided that language is one of the three essential components of cultural expression, along with the approach, the method of delivery, the way that a teacher chooses to investigate and present a topic, and also with the personal learning environment, which enables the individual learner to bring their own culture, their personal culture to the learning. So, obviously, without UPV translation services on EMMA, we would not be able to have the language, and we would not therefore have access to any of the three components that makes up a multicultural learning environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruth. You've raised an awful lot of very interesting questions. So we've gone from really the mechanics of how the automatic translation and transcription service works, right the way through to the implications and the limitations and the bigger questions, I think, that you raised very eloquently about language and whether some of the things that we're doing are really translatable at all from one language to another. So please, participants, if you have any questions or points of view you'd like to raise, please put them into the chat box now. We have a few minutes before the end of the webinar, and so it would be good to hear what you think and what points of view you'd like to raise. Maybe you have experience of other systems, maybe you're used to teaching in a multicultural, multilingual way and therefore have something to contribute in terms of how well this works. We'd love to hear from you. So just maybe before we see any comments or questions in the chat, I just wanted to ask you, Ruth, I mean, you made that point very well in terms of that there's different levels that you can expect, the basic bones of just getting it translatable and readable right the way through to having the finesse of the language speaker. And I'm just wondering, do you notice that there are, because you've looked at quite a few MOOCs now, you've looked at a lot of translation, a lot of transcription going on, is there something people can do to help themselves in terms of their original production of their texts or contexts or videos to make it easier for that translation process later on? And I don't necessarily mean just from a technical point of view, but from the point of view of being able to move it into something that is really good second language.
Well, Jorge was the one who said, look at your presentation, and certainly if you have a chance to discuss with the teachers or the people who are actually going to provide the content on the MOOC beforehand and show them the system, the translation systems and how it works, I think it's very effective, because with a television style of presentation on the video with shorter sentences and a slightly simpler form of delivery, the editing time is reduced a lot, substantially. And I think it's very good to get the team together and to decide on readability rather than native speaker style, because you can waste an awful lot of time, and personally I don't think it's worth it. I think a product that is comprehensible and translates the thought processes and the message of the original teacher is what we need here in this environment.
Thanks. A couple of questions and points of view. I see. Okay, Francesca, you're translating manually. I see that. It's technical translation. Would be interesting to know if you go then for basic readability, Francesca, or whether you try to go for the full finesse of the language. Maybe you might let us know. Cornelia, you're asking us about whether Emma will be available after the funding period. We're in that discussion at the moment. We're looking at different options, I have to say, and I think it's fair to say that German would be a language that would be high on our list of priorities. Jorge, isn't that correct?
Yes, the idea is to keep providing these services and these transcription and translation services that we have developed in the context of the EMA project. Yes.
Just Francesca, just to make the point, I see what you mean about doing things manually or doing it completely manually for high quality. The use of an automatic translation transcription service doesn't work against that, insofar as that what our experience is that it gets you over the first stage, and you can then use human beings to check and to improve and to produce a good quality. But I think the point that Jorge was making earlier, which is borne out very well by the statistics that we have, is that this saves a lot of time in that first round. You could never just use it as it is, coming straight from the machine, but it just saves a lot of time. I think that's an important point to make, Jorge, isn't it?
Yes, but as Francesca says, it depends on the purpose of the translation. If you are talking about international conventions, then you want to be very sure that the translation is perfect. In our case, the idea is that when we also translate in here the UPV, we have translated into Spanish and into English. The level of accuracy, it should be readable. It's not going to be, perfectly translated, but you can understand. You can follow the course perfectly. You don't have any problem. But you don't spend so much time to find the perfect word for each sentence. So it depends on the usage. For example, maybe in this case, if you are translating international conventions, maybe you have a draft translation, maybe, or you are not used to work with. I don't know. It depends on the application. Sometimes this automatic translation is useful for many applications, but maybe for very specific translations, maybe you prefer to do the translation by yourself. Yeah.
And even with the human manual translation, you need to find somebody with in-domain knowledge to guarantee you a successful and precise translation of the kind you're talking about, Francesca, I think, because even general translators can't deal with something like international conventions successfully.
Just coming to an end, a couple of minutes, just our last minute and a half, just reading from Tamar. I'm from Montreal. Everything's bilingual. We don't really depend on machine as human intervention takes place. We have many technology databases, whether lingual. Indeed, Tamar, but of course you're in that position where you're really dealing with two languages primarily here in Europe, unfortunately, or fortunately, however your viewpoint is on this. We have many more, so that's why we need our machines translation. And I should have said earlier that while the services that we offer that we're talking about during this web series is all to do with Emma, you can of course contact Jorge in UPV in Valencia if you'd like to discuss their services separately. I'm sure Jorge would be happy to help you with that.
I can provide in the chat the link to our platform. If you want to register, it's free, and you can register for free. Try our transcription and translation platform.
Yeah.
So, in case anyone is interested in, is the same. It's the same that we are providing in EMMA. Just so this is the link. You can register for free, and then you can upload your own videos to see how the system works.
Great, but let me use the last minute to do a quick promo for Emma, because as you can see we've got a whole round of new MOOCs that have just started. Do join us, enroll in a MOOC today. It's very good for your health. It's spring, it's a time to be starting something new. So you can see the link that Alberto put in with the full list of MOOCs that you can join. Our next webinars, there will be one on the 10th of March on task-centered approach to MOOC design with Olga and Mark Lampere at 2 o'clock, and then the one immediately after that on the 5th of April, which will be around the use of video. So do join us for our next webinars in this series. And of course, connect with us, like us, follow us, do all the things that we'd like you to do, and please send your questions and your comments also to this email address which is given. And for questions, indeed, thanks Maria, you've put in for new providers, so that's particularly for the question earlier about having a new MOOC on Emma. Please contact the new providers list. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks Jorge. Thanks Ruth. It's been really nice as always.
Thank you all, Joe.
Bye-bye to everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.